they never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball, I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic gotta say, I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life, I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the new era, about to snap back. You ain't fitting for it, cause you all cap like. Hold up, I shoot my shot, wait, hold up. I'm really about to run this, go up. You know it's all net when it go up. Ain't got no other plans, you don't need to understand, ayy. We on overtime, you don't need to understand, ayy. You just show them how to do it when you don't know what to say. Tell me how you plan to win if you plan to play. Moving fast, already gone, yeah, but you bringing me back. Try to double cross me, dog, just let me relax. Stop assuming what we doing. Keep it moving, what we doing. Cause it can get bigger, cause it can get bigger, cause it can get bigger. Hey, please don't play no games with me, I promise I'm too much. Hey, I can never let up even if you had enough. Hey, this ain't for the faint of heart, we always playing rough. I had enough, it ain't luck. I needed a vision, I needed ambition, I needed a mission to beat this submission with no intermission. I see the collision, the crash in the distance, they coming off track, no. Now when they ask what's the motive, don't talk about the show, they all about to see what I mean in the moment. I gotta keep going, I'm shaking the dice and I'm keeping it rolling, they already know. Ain't got no other plans, you don't need to understand, ayy. We on overtime, you don't need to understand, ayy. You just show them how to do it when you don't know what to say. Tell me how you plan to win if you plan to play. Moving fast, already gone, yeah, but you bringing me back. Try to double cross me, dog, just let me relax. Stop assuming what we doing. Keep it moving, what we doing. Cause it can get bigger, cause it can get bigger, cause it can get bigger.
Yeah. Good evening, early evening, late afternoon, whatever it is, however it tickles your fancy. Salute to everybody in the building, man. Salute to everybody in the building. Every week is Fight Week here at the ATP Combat Media Show. This is the Boxing Take. I am your host, Clay Moore Rain, back at you guys with another one, man. Man, I've had a long day today. Right? Been on was on the Boxing Voice today with Ness and Star over there. Great show today. You know what I mean? As usual, you know, listen, man, it's a war of attrition, right? We out here fighting. When you're fighting for what you believe in, that has to be enough at times. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody's always going to be on the same page as you. But I think in due time, you know what I mean, the takes age like wine. Right? That takes age like wine in due time. So we speak the truth. We continue to stand behind we continue to stand behind our truth. We continue to support the sport that we love. We continue to speak positivity in the air, and whatever comes on the back end of that, we take that as well, right? So shout out to everybody who's supporting the channel. Shout out to my new subscribers. If this is your first time tapping into the content, take a moment, hit the subscribe button, of course, at a minimum, hit the like button, right? Help the channel be in the algorithm. This community we're building up here will stand the test of time, and you never know, man. We might be one of the leaders in the space at some point or another, right? You never know. Today, we're going to be talking about, obviously, the current things going on in the space, but what's current right now, what's shaking up the algorithm, what's trending right now, of course, it's Zuffa boxing. Excited to say the least. People are kind of caught off guard. This is Claymore, all excited about Zuffa. Is Claymore on the Zuffa payroll, right? Is he under the payroll? Is he a bot? Is he a plant, a Zuffa plant? I mean, look, the simple answer is no, right? The simple answer is definitely no. But at the end of the day, I kind of get it, right? Because here I am supporting something that, without a doubt, a large portion of this niche community, and you know, I'm speaking specifically on the PBC fanatic, you know what I'm saying, urban, you might want to call it community, does not feel the same, obviously. So if it's to hear somebody speak as passionate as me over something like this, I can see why it raises eyebrows. But it is what it is, right? I can't help it, man. Like I said earlier, we got to stand on our truth, and you guys stand on your truth, and I'm sure our truths can coexist in the same space, right? Our truth should be able to coexist. Remember, this is just a sport. It's just boxing. It's not life. It doesn't speak to my character all the way, right? I mean, I think it does because I do stay true to myself, but don't take it personal. A lot of people are getting real emotional, really emotionally invested in the idea of what Zuffa boxing represents to them, right? As in their minds, maybe they're coordinating or aligning or connecting it with racial tensions in America or in the space that they live in, or they feel like the celebration or raising up of Zuffa at the same time means we're tearing down maybe something else. And maybe to a degree, it can represent that, because when you're talking about networks and how they're choosing and picking who they're going to invest in and work with and things of that nature, maybe there can only be one, right? I don't know. Maybe there can only be one. And maybe that's the case right now, where Zuffa boxing, it seems to be the clear choice for Paramount CBS, right? They're choosing to work with Zuffa boxing right now, and that seems to be the vehicle that is getting the broadcast network budget to push the sport that we love. You can ask yourself the question as to how you feel about it, make your own choice of how you feel about it, but I don't think it's going to change what it is. And as I stated earlier on the show with Ness, it does come down to the fighters or the promotional companies. That's what it's going to always come down to, especially in these moments, right? When things get tight, when the budget gets tight, if you're going through some financial struggles in your home at some point or another, you have to make decisions. You have to make priorities. You can't have it all. See, when your money is great and everything is on point, you can have your cake and eat it. You can do this, you can do that. But when you have to make sure your money's being spent in the most efficient way, when you have to make sure everything makes sense, and you start to cut in the fat, you start keeping what you really need, which is essential, and you drop the rest until you can heal completely from whatever you're going through. So right now, the space that boxing is in, are we going to support the fighters and push anything that is willing to push the fighters? Are we going to listen to the fighters and let them be the litmus test as to whether something's effective or not effective? Or are we going to continue to stay loyal to promotional companies? Me personally, I don't think I need to tell you, but my choice is clear, right? I'm going with the fighters because it's the boxing matches that intrigue me. I have no interest in talking company politics as much as some people may like doing. I don't care about their budgets, their bills, their profitability. And if I do, it's only because I'm interested in the fighters' ability to be active, right? The fighters' ability to fight, to give us the shows. That's about where it stops for me. And that's why, Zuffa boxing to me is something that I'm hoping does work. I'm praying that it is successful, that it does check the boxes, that it does everything right. And that helps grow the Robert Merriweathers, the Julian Gonzalez's, right? I'm hoping that it helps grow the Caleb Walshes, whoever, right? The Kane Sandovals. I don't care. I'm hoping the next superstar, Zuffa can have a part played in that, because if it's successful, then boxing is successful. And if boxing is successful, as the owner of a boxing content creation channel, I'm successful, right? So salute to everybody in the building, man. Yesterday was the Zuffa press conference, the rollout of the event. It was there to be watched, to be scrutinized, to be celebrated, whatever it is that you chose to do as you watched it. Maybe you critique the production. Maybe you critique the media. Maybe you critique the fighters. Did we critique Dana? Did you like the production? It was small, the venue. The fight is going to be in the Meta Apex Arena there in Las Vegas. It's not going to seat 20,000, 15,000 people. It's going to seat somewhere between 500 to 1,000 people. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Is that a bad sign? Should it have been bigger? Why is it smaller? Was it effective? How did the fighters actually feel about it? More importantly, from my perspective, did the fighters find value in what they went through yesterday? How was that experience? Dana White answered a lot of questions yesterday at the press conference. He had a pretty good media as far as I'm concerned, who asked great questions. He spoke on the Muhammad Ali Act, He spoke on future events. He spoke on what plans he has. He spoke about what plans he has with Zuffa. Gave us an idea of what to expect in the next year to 3 years, right? He talked about relationships. We saw Zuffa also stream on a new channel, Paramount. What is it called? Paramount Boxers or Paramount Boxing Crew, I think it's called. Yeah, Paramount Boxing Crew. So this is a new section of the Paramount CBS, a coalition of media that's going to be following these fighters hands-on, giving them interviews, going in the gyms, catching them while they're training. We also saw that they were streaming on the WWE YouTube channel, which has millions of subscribers, right? Also streaming on the CBS Sports channel, which has a million plus subscribers. So we're seeing the machine moving in real time. And now we have real information to talk about. We have real things to look at and give our opinions on, right? Real things to react to, real facts and data that we can look at and say, do we like the way this is starting, or does it need some tweaking? Dana's already accepted the fact and spoke to us and said he's expecting mistakes, right? He says we're going to roll out the first event and we're expecting mistakes, period. I think that's a smart man right there, who's a thinking man, who understands that, you got to get it going, but more than likely 9 out of 10 times the way it ends is very, very, very rarely the way it begins, right? Very rarely is it the way it begins. So that's how the game goes. They start off small. They put the event together. They look for issues. They acknowledge, locate, put their crosshairs on the issue, execute on plans to knock the issues down and continue the ball rolling forward, with the ultimate goal being that this is going to be a successful endeavor. I'm with it. Let's get it. Let's get it. A couple people stacking up in the building. Shout out to everybody who is here. As I've stated earlier, when there was about 6 people in the building, I'll say it now to when there's a little over 20. Please remember to hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, take a moment to go ahead and do that today. I'm waiting on my my co-host to pop up and we can start the conversation. But if they don't pop up soon, I'm going to start the conversation without them, right? We already know, right? One monkey don't stop the show, right? I believe that's how the saying goes. Let's go ahead and acknowledge everybody who's in the building, flexing and stepping in the building. Salute to you, family. Says 2 channels, Clay. No doubt, man. Peace, my guy, to Just Do, man, in the building, man. Salute, Just Do. SOB TV in the building says salute, Claymore. Salute to you, family. Round 1. The DHS round 1 in the building says, what up, Clay? What's good with you, family? Let's see here. The spiritual ministry in the building. Good morning, Queen. Good morning. Good morning. Says, hey, Clay. Salute to you. What's good with you, Queen? My guy, HLD in the building. Always happy to see my guy in the building. I know that engagement is going to be on 10 when HLD's in here. He says, they already said they will be starting out slow. This is not a big name card. That warrants a big arena. Well, that's intelligence, right, HLD? That's what it's all about. Reading the room. We're not overreaching. We're staying in our lane. We understand the magnitude of this card. This is our trial card. This is our first card. We're looking forward to see these fighters put their best foot forward. We're looking at the production. We're making sure the cameras work right. The sound works right. We're trying to see the reaction from the community to it. Keeping it small, something containable, something we can control, a controlled environment to where we can see every piece of what we're rolling out is doing, so we can start tweaking before we jump into the big stage, before we jump into the big show, right? Dana talks about, listen, man, the production crew I put together here, this is a new production crew. This is not the UFC production crew. This is not that crew. This is a crew tailor-made for what we're trying to roll out. So we're going to give this crew an opportunity and the time to gel, right? To come together and work in unison. We want that music sounding right, the notes to sound right. We want the tenors doing what the tenors are supposed to be doing. We want the sopranos doing what the sopranos are supposed to be doing. We want everybody to check the boxes on their job and want to hear that sound come in as one fluent, beautiful sound, right? sort of like a symphony orchestra. That makes sense to me. If I was somebody who was invested in Zuffa Boxing, I would appreciate the attention to detail that Dana White seems to be putting behind this. He's not just overshooting this. He understands what's on the line, by the way, right? Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about somebody with a very competitive spirit in him. He's already talking about what the big picture is, which is in 5 years, I got to come back to the table and renew a contract with Paramount. He understands that. He said that very clearly. In 5 years, I have to come back to the table, and I'm going to be responsible to pitch and sell the success of the first go around on this investment and try to convince these guys to double back and do it again. And not only do it again, but do it bigger and better the next time. So he's got the drive in him. He wants to see this thing work. And I would like to put my money behind something like that. Great track record, and he's already entering the game with the right mindset, already being protective of my investment, being very conservative in his first couple of moves, because he wants to protect that investment. And then when he feels confident in what he thinks it's going to be, he knows what it's going to be now, he'll move forward with a whole different energy. So yeah, man, HLD, it is what it is, right? Round one says Zuffa doing something right. I mean, I don't think Kalen Watts can sell tickets, so starting in the Apex is smart. Also, more eyes on Paramount Plus, so it'll be a good move for now. 100%, man. I'm right on the same page with you, man. Literary Farrell in the building says the transparency by White is commendable. 100%. And I think so, in Literary Farrell, bro, I think people have a hard time accepting that transparency because there's points in times where Dana White will tell you, I don't know. We got to still see. We're going to make mistakes. One thing I'm going to commit to is we're going to push this thing all the way to the end and see it through to be successful. But people sometimes takes that transparency as beating around the bush, steering around the conversation. The narrative of the Ali Act is always going to be surrounded around this whole entire situation too, ladies and gentlemen, right? That's always going to be a huge topic when it comes to the rollout of Zuffa Boxing is the amendments or the additional language that was added to the Ali Act. And what does it actually mean? Dana White stands on his square and he continues to tell the space nothing has changed in the Ali Act. If anything, we've added to it. Leave it to Dana to tell you options, more options, added options, meaning the options that were there before remain intact. Now we've added extra options. And as he stated, how can extra or more options be a bad thing for fighters? I think that's a fair argument. That's a good argument. That's a great conversation. If anybody would care to argue it, go for yours. But yeah, I would argue that more options is great. Anything you put me in, the more options I have, the better. You take me to a restaurant with more options, there's a good chance that restaurant is just going to be better. That's a chance. You got restaurants that only have 5 to 10 things on the menu, 5 to 7 things, and each one of those things are immaculate. But listen, man, at some point or another, I don't care who you are. After you've been to that restaurant enough, you're going to be like, damn, man, they should add some more shit to this menu. You know what I'm saying? Eventually, once you get past the silliness of it all. So this is what Dana White's stance is on the Ali Act. But we have a boxing space who is committed. We have fans, detractors, skeptics who are very committed to the story, which is no, they changed the Ali Act and they're hurting fighters by doing this. Maybe you're right. I don't know. I don't find the fighters involved in the situation seeing it as that serious. They seem to be okay. They seem to be getting transparency. You leave it to Julian Rodriguez to speak to you about it. Hey, man, my lawyers, my manager, all the people who are moving my career sat down at the table with representation at Zuffa, and they negotiated the best deal for me. They seem to feel like the transparency is good enough. They were able to negotiate. We've also learned that Zuffa Boxing isn't cookie cutter, right, guys? Everybody isn't getting the same contract. People are leveraging their brands. They're leveraging their influence. They're leveraging their accolades. They're leveraging their last pays, right? They're leveraging everything, and they're all negotiating to put themselves in the best positions with the contracts that they're getting. Dana's opened up to the idea of helping bridge the relationship between the Zuffa boxing business model and boxing as we know it, as he's now open to working with the Jai Opatais of the game. He signed Jai Opatai. A Jai Opatai who's been very clear with his language. I'm looking to unify. I'm looking for undisputed. I'm looking for all of these things to come full circle. And Dana says, I'm hearing you, brother, and we're going to do everything we can to facilitate that. Dana's changed his stance a little bit. Now, is this wishy-washy for Dana White to be like that? Or do we once again celebrate Dana White for operating with real-time data and adjusting accordingly to the landscape that he's in and doing what he needs to do, putting the business first and being willing to move the right direction for the business and not allowing his pride, his ego to get in the way of just solid, good, practical business thinking? I'll leave that up to each one of you guys to kind of figure out how you want to approach that as well. Shout out from Sam from New Jersey in the building. Says, salute to the ATP Combat Media. Salute to you, Sam from Jersey, with the first super chat in the building, man. $5 says, we love this boxing channel, Claymore Rain. I love this boxing channel. More. And I appreciate you, Sam from New Jersey, man. Sam from Jersey in the building, man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you, King. Thank you, man. I appreciate that, man. We're going to continue to create. And just like Dana White said, we're going to find the problems. We're going to zero in on them. We're going to execute game plans to face the problems. We're going to continue improving as a channel for sure. That is the game plan. So stick around, man. Thank you for the support, man. I appreciate that. Guys, remember, super chats always appreciated, right? Support the channel, man. The money goes into the best place. I have lots of plans and things I want to do with the channel as well. But all those things, you know what I'm saying, they need to be financed. Now, clearly, I've put my own, I put a hella bag behind my channel to get it where it's at, to do what it's doing. But, man, I appreciate all the love. So any color in the chat is always appreciated. But at a minimum, hit that like button for sure. And, of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, man. I appreciate you guys. Salute to K Gunn in the building. Said, heard Jalil Hackett is going to be on the second Zuffa card. Is that what you heard, K? Is that what they told you? Man, we'll talk about it, man. Maybe we will. I don't know. Is that what you heard? Is that what the streets are saying? Shout out to my team. Shout out to my community, man. Always staying ahead of the news. Let me know what's going on. Hey, man, Jalil Hackett, Zuffa, that's a good look, man. If that is what he chooses to do, man, hey, we're going to support him one way or the other, right? The more activity, the more exposure, the better. Shout out to Jalil Hackett and his father and that team. They know that right here over at the ATP Combat Media. This is their platform. One of their platforms at least, right? We always going to big them up and push them in that right direction, man. Give them the light that they need to get where they need to be, man. For sure. Shout out to at Kill the Bell. Ooh, I'm sorry. I am messing up your name. Let me sound this one out. Let me sound it. At Kill Tabibi. At to kill. Okay. Thank you. Salute. Says you're the best. Salute to you. I'm kind of scared to sound it out now because I'm starting to feel like I might walk into something. But hey man, I appreciate the love, man. I appreciate you. And said bye. Okay. All right, man. All right, man. Sam from Jersey, salute to my favorite boxing channel, no doubt, man. Literary Pharaoh in the building says celebrate his ability to adjust. Why not, right? Right, Literary Pharaoh? Isn't that what it's all about? Adapt and overcome. Life serves you flowers. Life serves you shit. Life serves you, and you move accordingly. You start treating the shit like flowers and the flowers like shit and getting it confused, and we can end up in a shitty situation, right? It is what it is. Lance Ma in the building. Salute, Lance Ma. What's good, man? Shout out to the Libra in the building with the super chat. The $2 says keep going. Support the channel. Hashtag quality. For sure, family. All day, man. Z Pacino in the building. Salute, Z Pacino. What's good with you, King? I saw you over there at the Boxing Voice, man. Good to see you in the building. I appreciate the support. Guys, remember, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Kalia World in the building says hello. Hello. Hello, Kalia. What's good, Queen? How you doing, man? Literary Farrah says, if Dana was keeping his information to the chest, people would say he's being deceptive. Him being transparent, working with the intel in real time, people still feel distrust. Yeah, that's part of the game, right? You have the part of the community that it doesn't matter too much about one way and the other. The only thing that matters for them is either Dana's white, Dana ran the UFC, which is the ops, mixed martial arts and boxing don't mix. Dana White wants to destroy the sport because he wants to he wants to propel his sport forward. Dana White in Al Heyman don't mix. Maybe Dana White represents a sort of foe for Al Heyman or whatever. All kinds of reasons that no matter what you say to those people, they're going to be beyond skeptical. They're just going to wear their detractor jacket with pride and be very liberal with it, which is anything that guy says, we're against. I don't give a damn. Unfortunately, people who think like that at times speak to their own demise, right? They'll cut their nose off to spite their own face, even to their own demise, in order to stand on code, right? They'll cut down the whole entire they'll cut the tree down from the roots, you know what I mean, and knock it all down just off the strength of being on the right side of the conversation from their point of view. It is what it is, man, right? Shout out to everybody in the building. I do see my guys are in the back. Let me see here. I see my guy. Right. Okay, boom. I think we're good, man. I think we're good. I'm about to bring him in the building. Guys, thank you again for being here, man. We got like 40 people in here. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to my people who are on the Twitter space. Shout out to my people who are on Facebook and, of course, on YouTube. Follow us. If you can make it over to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit that 3,000 subscriber mark. I appreciate the support, man. But I will not waste one more moment here. Hold on 1 second here. One second. I will not waste one more moment here. Let's bring up the usual suspects in here. My guy, Ray Davis. My guy, Angelo. Ray.
What up?
Salute to the scholarship that's in the building that this panel represents. At least how you guys doing today, man? Happy Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, blessed to be alive, bro. Blessed to be alive. Shout out to my sister in the Liver La Vida Loca shirt. Thank you, sis. Nah, man.
How do you feel about your pictures, by the way?
Yeah, no, Clay,
I wanted to put your face in the right spot, Angelo, and you, Ray, so you can kind of, you know what I mean? We all kind of
Ray looks all serious, like, what's Angelo gonna say next?
I look like Clay made me look like a baby version of him. It's actually kind of funny. I was laughing.
That's you, bro. That ain't me. That's you, bro.
I know. That's funny. I said, look at Clay. I said, Clay hold his chin. He got me holding my chin. I was like, yo, Clay funny. And then he took the picture with the glasses too, right?
Yeah,
just kidding.
For sure.
But no, I'm just kidding, man. Listen, I seen it. I thought it was dope. You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody in the chat. This is going to be a great conversation today. Zuffa Boxing is about to launch. They're about to give us something good for this for a change, and I mean for the change. Let me correct myself. Not for a change, but for the change. You know what I mean? For the foreseeable future. And listen, man, only one thing's going to happen. One or two things are going to happen, right? We're either going to have success in the boxing world because we're going to see how something on the outside can come in and promote boxing to the fullest, or we're going to see that boxing current status as it is going to always forever be the way it is. So we'll see how it works out. I don't think we're going to freeze out Zuffa, though. I don't believe that's happening. I think we got too many boxers that are really and willing to go over there and put on a show and give us the excitement that we've been waiting for, especially in U.S. boxing, right? And it's so crazy that this is U.S. boxing, but they're globally signing people. And that's what's incredible about this. They're going international with this, man, and it's only going to get better. I think it's only going to get better.
Yeah, no, Clay, I just, again, man, I guess it's just me, right? Like when people were crapping on me about this guy's just loves Terrence Crawford, man, talking about how Terrence Crawford's going to kill Canelo, and they were killing me, bro. And then what happened? Exactly what I said. And even in my UK picks, oh man, this guy, he doesn't really know. And then what happens? Hamza Shiraz destroys for Lincoln. So I guess, now that we're here and weigh-ins are going to be later on today, I'm watching NFL football and I'm seeing a ton of Dana White on CBS, on Bloomberg, on Pat McAfee show. You know what I mean? Like, so he's everywhere right now talking about Zuffa Boxing. So I know you don't like to take the victory lap, Clay, so let me do it for us, all right? Let me do it. First off, before it even was announced, when it was just talked about as a rumor, this channel was the first one to be completely sportive of it. And I will say, I was the bad guy. Everybody kept saying, oh, man, he must be working. He must be working for Dana White, right?
Fighters.
Yeah, right. And then as we progressed along, and you guys know Clay, he does his homework, right? He does his due diligence. He studies. He's seen all the things that we've been talking about, both publicly and privately. So then he jumps on and he's like, you know what? This is it. And then all of a sudden, the space starts to attack my man. What are you guys attacking him for? Right? Like, what did he do wrong? He didn't do nothing wrong. All he's trying to do, and what the channel's always tried to do, provide you actual facts, not emotions. These are just facts. You might get emotional, but facts are facts. Was it not a fact that Terrence Crawford whooped the shit out of Canelo? Yes, it was. Was it not a fact that Hamza Shiraz whooped the shit out of Berlanga? Yes, it was. Is it not a fact that Dana White is the biggest news this week right now, talking about combat sports weekends, both Zuffa boxing and the UFC, and it is not Matchroom, who's here in Vegas? I can barely find anyone talking about Andy Cruz versus Murataya. I mean, you got to really go to
going on right now for Ryan, and we're not even right now.
Right? Yeah, we're not even paying because literally Dana was just on the Pat McAfee show, right? And then he's going on another show, and he's going on another show because at the end of the day, it's simple, guys. You can really catch up if you want to, if you just pay attention to how the UFC's rolled and how they do things. And if you understand that, then you will completely understand why Dana White is being successful. Imagine this, Clay. If your experiment before boxing was you taking an industry that, as we've already said, we have our 20-minute video out if you guys want to check it out on the ATP Combat channel, Claymore Range YouTube. We've already said this, that he took a sport that in some states they were literally banning it, and then he turned it into a company that network deal is willing to give $7.7 billion, right? So that means he already built a structure off of a sport that isn't boxing. All he's doing now is offering it to the boxers. So what are we hearing them all say now, bro? I mean, you heard it with your own ears interviewing him, Clay. Julian Rodriguez telling you how amazing it is. You can't stop talking about how amazing it is. He hasn't even fought yet, and he's already talking about how amazing it is. Roger Merriweather, right? Some of the other people we're going to be bringing on the show, they're just going to praise it. And the funny thing to me is, I don't know, since the Reebok deal for the last 10 years, for sure, I think it was in 2014 when they first built the UFC PI and I was walking through it, we already kind of knew, like, man, this is going in the direction of a professional sports like an NFL and an NBA. They're doing something different. Now, for the first time, boxers are being offered this. So I turn it back to you, gentlemen, in wondering why certain people are still hating now. I don't remember the PBC or Golden Boy Promotions or Top Rank or any of the other promotional groups, Matchroom, Queensberry, ever building a performance institute in order to help their athletes become better at the craft of boxing. Have you guys ever heard of it? Did I miss it?
No, this is evolution, Angelo. This is 100% evolution of anything good. Anything good, bad, whatever. It evolves. And that's what this is. And you have a choice to make here. People can embrace the idea of evolution, or they can try to hold it and stifle and stagnate the growth of it. I spoke on the Boxing Voice today, if you guys saw me today, and I drew a line in the sand. And I said, listen, guys, it's very simple at this point. We don't need to beat around the bush. We don't need to play games about this. Let's speak to the elephant in the room. Who are you guys here for? The boxers or the promotional companies? It's very simple. You know what I'm saying? At this point, we don't need to beat around the bush. What is this about? Is this about PBC, Top Rank, Golden Boy, Matchroom, and Zuffa boxing? Or is this about all of the fighters that are under each one of these promotional blankets and whether or not the promotional companies are maximizing everything that they have their power to maximize in order to push these fighters to the next level and push them to the ultimate goal, which is being stars, to be champions, to maximize their potential. And if you're for the fighters, then you can't turn your nose away from a broadcast network like Paramount choosing to get into boxing and choosing to make Dana White the face of, or the guy in charge of, the movement. You could not like Dana, but this is kind of like presidents of the United States, right? Whoever the president is, once he gets in there, you better hope and pray that he's doing right by you. But don't get it twisted. He's your president. You know what I'm saying? You can't, there's nobody else who's the president. He's the representation. You better hope and pray he does the job right, because otherwise it's your ass that you're throwing in the wind, nobody else's. So Dana White is the face of this movement right now. And he's the face of the best opportunity that Julian Rodriguez has ever gotten in his boxing career. He's the face of Robert Merriweather's III's first huge opportunity. He's the face of Jayo Pataya's biggest opportunity, somebody who's been struggling to get the big fight, struggling to unify, struggling to do what he needs to do. Why would I hate and tear that down?
Yep.
It doesn't make any sense. The only way it makes sense is if I don't give a damn about a fighter and I'm just upset about how other promotional companies may be affected in the midst of this whole thing happening.
Yep.
I draw my line in the sand and tell you, I don't care about no promotional companies, bro. I'm on these fighters, and whatever benefits them is good with me.
Yep.
They're giving me what I want. Al Heyman and Bob Arum aren't fighting each other inside the ring. Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren aren't squared up to find out who the unified champion of the world. We don't give a damn about those old dudes fighting or doing whatever they're doing because they're not doing it anyway. It's about the fighters. So speak your truth, but don't be delusional. Speak your truth. If you don't give a fuck about the fighters, just say that and rep in your flag. Represent these promotional companies that you stand behind, right, wrong, or in between. Go ahead, Ray.
And I actually couldn't agree with you 100% more. What I think is really going to come from this is you're actually going to get a fan base all the way down. So you're going to see people gravitating towards certain fighters that they never heard of. Why? Because they're going to put on performances. This is going to be on television. This is going to be live and in people's faces without having to go through a pay-per-view. It's something that they can manage to see, and if they tune in, especially UFC fighters and things like that. And just like UFC fans have favorite UFC fighters and they follow these guys extensively and give their attention to, you'll see certain guys come out the flock. And when you see that, you're going to see craved matchups. I want to see this guy go fight Shakur Stevenson. I want to see this guy go fight Benavidez. I want to go see this guy fight Devin Haney or Rolly Romero or a Virgil Ortiz, a Boots Ennis. I want to see how this guy would compare, because these guys are going to be at a level as fans are going to gravitate towards the sport more. And like I said, this is more based towards the casual fan too, guys. That's what's more important than anything. Like we're trying to get the casual fans to accept boxing. And a lot of people are so caught up in what they know as boxing, you know, with like you said, with the other promotional companies, that they're smothering the board. They're really completely dismissing what Zuffa could be. Not everyone, but a lot of people are, right? They don't even know the ratchet of it yet, right? They literally killed Turkey Al-Sheikh for 2.5 years. No problem when he put on the greatest heavyweight competition in December, right? Yep. No problem. Oh, we love this guy. This guy's going to be great for boxing. I can't wait till he does another one, because everyone thought he was only going to fight heavyweights. He was going to bring heavyweight boxing back. He was going to only use heavyweights to fight in Riyadh because he had a great relationship with Eddie Hearn and AJ and Deontay Wilder's on stage and Chisora's on stage and Big Baby Anderson's on stage and Miller's on stage. Like all these guys on one platform, you know, and then they bring a couple light heavyweights in and they bring a cruiserweight in for the contest. And it was like, oh, they're only focused on the big boxers. As soon as Raymond Ford and Nick Ball got on that screen, oh, here goes boxing. Now it all changed because now he's dipping into the other divisions. Now Turkey's trying to ruin boxing. No, Turkey wanted to put on the biggest fights and the best fights ever. Give you something globally so you see other people outside of what your comfort zone is. And when it became such a thing, everyone started refuting and pushing back. Now we had the same thing with Zuffa. Zuffa is bringing some of the professional boxers that we know of and we heard of. Yeah, they're not the mega stars. No, they're not. But they're stars enough where we know who they are. They're in the rankings. They're in places that we already seen these guys. Top Rank, PBC, Matchroom, wherever, Oscar, De La Hoya, Golden Boy. We've seen these guys. So now they're over where they need on a public platform where the casual fan can grow accustomed to. And like you touched on yesterday, Angelo, with Jai Bataan. A lot of people don't know who he is, but now they will know. And the guy's riding a bike in Vegas. You see what I'm saying? So now they're going to get to see the characteristics, the build up to these fighters, and the comfort of boxing is going to change in the United States where they start going international, and it's going to change the game. And while everybody's here, please smash the like button and support the channel because we talking that boxing, baby.
No, and it's a great point. What Ray Davis is saying, guys. I mean, to some of you who are like, well, Julian Rodriguez, you know, that's a lower level boxer. Okay. I mean, he's got 24 wins. It's only got the one loss. But sure, man, you guys want to call a guy who was one of the top amateurs fighting for the USA, right? Born and raised in Jersey. You guys want to shit on that guy? How about Jai Opetaia, though? Jai Opetaia is literally the Ring Magazine champion. Many of us in the boxing world globally, I'm not talking about American fans, globally, who know that this guy's been whooping on everyone since 2023, right? Some people will question it too, Clay. You probably have gotten this heat at sometimes when you're having to do a debate. Well, who is Jai Opetaia really beat? He beat the lineal champion. That's who he beat, right? You can complain all you want. He beat the lineal champion. And unless you want to change the boxing rules, right? And you want to, we sit here and we will celebrate Mario Barrios because he's a champ, right? That's the rules. We got to do that. We can say how we want to feel about him as a champion. But there's not one of you that will try to tell me that the reason why Jai Opetaia isn't as more popular as he is, it has to do with the fact that Jai's ducking everyone. No, everyone else is ducking Jai. So what did Jai Opetaia do? Because he still had. I've been listening to all the UK news about how, man, Matchroom. I mean, they're killing Matchroom right now, Clay. They're like, you guys really messed up. How'd you lose Jai Opetaia? Jai Opetaia, and what can they really answer? They're answering it as professionally as they can. They can say, well, of course, this is an industry, and where if you could get $1 more somewhere else, then look, man, I'm gonna tell you right now how you lost them. It's simple facts. Okay. Australia is one of the biggest sports market in the world. The UFC has a strong hold in Australia. It is easier to become a star like Robert Whittaker, Alexander Volkanovski, Israel Adesanya, the guy who drinks the shoe, the beer out of the shoe. Yeah, the shoey. I mean, so many stars come out of that side of the world that have and let's not forget that I think the biggest attendance for women's fight ever in the history of women's fighting was Holly Holm versus Ronda Rousey in Australia, and I think it was in front of like 40,000 people or something like that, right? So at the end of the day, the UFC got a foothold on Australia, and someone like Jai Opetaia, who has been fighting since he was 19. If you guys have not studied this guy was so dominant. He was like Mike Tyson in the youth amateurs. He was knocking people out to win the gold medal, right? He goes, I'm just going to turn pro at 19. Turns pro at 19 and goes crazy, Clay, right? The way he won the lineal championship, Claymore, is his jaw, bro, got broken with like 3 rounds left in the fight. And he had to grit it out against this guy, bleeding while his jaw was hanging, right? To make it. So Jai Opetaia is a superstar. The fact that Dana White and Zuffa Boxing had a format that stole Jai Opetaia away from Matchroom is also the reason why you're hearing about Alexander Usyk now. Talking about going to Dana White and Zuffa Boxing. So let me ask you, Claymore, Do you think that's smoke? Or now that you've gotten to see what Dana can do you think there's a bit of reality to him holding his cards close to his chest, and maybe the Usyk conversation's been going on for a little bit longer than everybody thinks?
What Dana White is doing is appealing to good people with good business sense. He's clearly doing that with the business people at Paramount, right? And he's clearly doing that now with Jai Opataya, and he's trying to do that with Alexander Usyk. When they're sitting at the table with a Dana White, they're trying to make business sense of it. Well, why would I do this with you? I clearly am a man with many of options, made a lot of money already in the sport. So please, Dana, make that make sense to me. And Dana's finding a way to bridge this new platform that's really centered around the cultivation and the development of prospect young contender fighters. It's really not built around the idea of getting stars, of grabbing a Shakur or grabbing a Devin or grabbing a. This is not what this model is built around. But still, you know what I'm saying? But still, at the end of the day, it's built around that idea. But Dana's finding a way to bridge that idea with something that could benefit a star who doesn't need a Zuffa boxing platform. So we'd be better off and more intelligent to approach this with a little bit of a patient energy about us, with a open, objective eye, an open and objective ear, and let's see what happens at the end of it. Because at the end of the day, as I stated earlier, it's about these fighters. Mm-hmm. And if the fighters are truly benefiting from this, and not just monetarily, right? Not just them getting rich, but the reason they came into the sport, the activity, the notoriety, the opportunity, the lane to undisputed, unified, a lane to their goals being achieved. If they're doing that in real time and offering that to a fighter in real time, something that the fighter is clearly not being able to find outside of this opportunity, then we need to make sure that the line is drawn in the sand. And the line has to be clear. I love you, Al. I love you, Bob. I love you, Frank. I love you, Eddie. You love Oscar. That's your business too, right? But at the end of the day, I'm fucking with these fighters, bro. Yep. That's where I'm at. I'm here to represent these fighters, bro. I'm talking about what these fighters are doing in the ring. You're not exciting me with your new deals and how much money you make. Hey, Oscar, you doing your little clapback Thursdays from your $12 million mansion? That doesn't excite me, bro. I don't give a damn about your laser surgery and your fake abs and your plastic girlfriend or any of the things you got that you think make you somebody. Those things don't impress me, don't move the needle. You know what annoys me and what would impress me? How you're handling Virgil.
Yep.
How about putting him in a fight that we want to see? I don't care about all that extra shit you're doing. I care about you. You're not that funny, bro. And maybe the worst thing we ever did was laugh at your that gashed your head up and made you think that was enough. And all of a sudden you became entertainment. All of a sudden it wasn't about the fights. You know what I'm saying? Now you're just focused on your clapback Thursdays being catchy and I'm hot. I'm hot in these streets. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Remember what your job is, man, because Virgil is trying to figure out if you remember what your job is. Shout out to my guy 610 Nas in the building with the $5. Says, this bull from the TBV call. I want you to know it's all love and respect. 100%. 610 Nas, 100%, man. I don't take those things personal, man. This space is a space. Ak was talking to me earlier, and he had some emotions. You know what I'm saying? And how he was looking at it, because, and I understood where he was coming from. He felt like, in my opinion, he felt like when the PBC rolled out and Al Heyman was trying to do his thing, that everybody gave Al help, scrutinized everything about everything he did. And he just wants to make sure that we're not over celebrating this Zuffa thing, and we're giving them the same scrutiny. We're requiring them to check the same boxes we were pushing for Al to check. Mm-hmm. And I agree with it. And we're pushing for them. I mean, yeah, we're holding them at a high standard, right? We're like, yo, absolutely. We're expecting this, that. Yeah. I mean, that's all we're talking about, right? This is pressure on Zuffa. Right. That's what we're doing. Talking them up like this. We're putting pressure on them, bro.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, no, and I wasn't there, so I wasn't at the debunking voice. So I don't know how the conversation went, but I understand where you guys are coming from. You just have to understand that for people like myself or Clay who have watched how the UFC grew, a lot of us being convinced is seeing how the UFC grew. So we already watched it. And now when the UFC was growing, no one gave them $7.7 billion, right? So I'll tell you a funny story that's trending right now in regular casual news. Justin Gaethje, who's the main event, who is one of the most, as you know, Clay, one of the most exciting fighters the UFC's ever had, 14 bonuses for performance of the night. This guy's a killer. He knocks people out. Then he jumps on top of the octagon and does a backflip from the air and the whole bit. I still don't know how a man can do that after 5 rounds, right? And still have the legs to do it. But Clay, Justin Gaethje, I don't know what happened. I don't know who his team is, but he decided to answer a question from the media about money pay, right? And he's and this is fight week, ladies and gentlemen. These guys are trying to make weight. And we here at the show, we're really sensitive to this too, right, Clay? We never try to interview a fighter during their fight week because we know they can get kind of cranky, right? And we're not trying to get like clickbaits or them saying something angry or anything like that. But anyways, Justin Gaethje decides to say during a media question conference, yeah, man, yeah, they got all that money, but I still haven't seen nothing change on my paycheck, and I don't even know how that's right. I've gotten 14 bonuses for performances of the night. So guess what happened today, Clay? Dana White's at Pat McAfee show. Pat McAfee then asks him, because it's regular casual news now. Hey, can you kind of like clarify with us, like now with the whole rollout, has the fighter pay changed? You know what the answer was, Clay? And it was hella funny, and then everybody just kind of laughed it off. Dana goes, yeah. And if you take the time to actually look at your messages, all the fighters got more money, and we were offering Justin Gaethje a lot more money, but he never answered the message. So, yeah. And then Pat McAfee goes, well, are you guys all good now? And he's like, yeah, no, Justin's fine. But that's the whole thing, is it's like, yeah, you might not want to say something publicly. Don't put the business out, out there, right? Now, on the flip side of that, someone like Julian Rodriguez, who was asked by our guy, Johnny at the Hangout Spot, about his money. So he went ahead and I mean, he didn't need to, but he felt so compelled about how good he was being treated, bro, that he said, oh, actually, they signed me a year ago. I got signed on January of 2025. And still, because they weren't ready to roll out yet, they go ahead and gave me a free agency option. I went ahead and took the Avius Griffin fight. And then he detailed what the Avius Griffin deal was, which he was like, this is garbage, right? And on top of that, after he beat Avius Griffin, a deal he had already signed with Zuffa, Clay, he even said that they were so business-oriented that they went back to the table with him and said, hey, would you like to renegotiate because you're coming off of a win? No, right? Like, it's almost like they're trying to teach them, like, hey, man, we're not trying to lowball any of you guys. We just want to make sure that it's all in the table so that, and part of this, I bet you, is the same exact reason why Dana said, no, we called everybody and messaged them. Justin didn't answer the message, right? Sure. So that they're also covering their asses to say, we're not mistreating any fighters. In fact, here's the proof, right? So at the end of the day, I think that, again, if you're going to make business transparent and we as the fans are going to get to hear it, we're going to hear all the sides. And so far, the roses smell pretty good, Clay. I don't know about you, but I have not heard one fighter or coach yet tell us, oh, we hate this. Oh, we don't like it. I did hear you do and if you want to reveal it a little bit, yeah, I heard you might have done an interview with Troy Isley. You want to talk a little?
Yeah, I'll speak a little on it. I'll speak a little on it, man. Troy Isley, I got some perspective. And to be honest with you, I was very critical of Troy Isley before the interview. Still a little bit of a side eye, but not not that much anymore. I did get some perspective of what's going on, but I think the interview was really more so revealing to another fighter who's finding himself in a situation where he feels like he's not getting pushed, promoted the right way, he's not getting the right fights, he's not being developed, and he's just, you know, he's moved on from the top ranked situation, and even from working with Jay Prince, right, as he's looking for that right fit because he sees something for his career that he thinks is going to need a machine behind him that's on the same page as him, that has the same aligned goals for him and can lay it out on how they plan on accomplishing those goals, right? But shout out to Alex Alberto G644 says, "Hi guys, do you guys think that there are at least a minor chance Dana can convince Bud to unretire for 1 or 2 more fights?" I don't think Dana's going to be able to convince Bud of anything, but I'll tell you this. If Bud does choose to come out of retirement, I don't think it's far-fetched at all that he would not go back to that old system that you know what I'm saying, that he wouldn't go there. He probably would choose to do it on an independent way, but I'm sure he loved the results of that fight with Canelo Alvarez. As far as, I mean, obviously outside of the results being clearly one thing he loved, but the promotion, the amount of people in the arena, the way he was treated. So if he had to choose, I don't think it's far-fetched at all that he would choose Dana White and the TKO group and Zuffa Boxing to platform and be in charge of pushing his event forward and maximizing what that event can return for him. 610 says, "Did anyone see the WBC letter?" I did see the letter. I haven't read the letter. It's a long effing letter by Mauricio Suleiman. I have to assume that it's a letter in reference to what's going on with the Ali Act. Being that I'm pretty sure like it's moved forward at this point, it's over with. I think everything, you know.
So it's got to go one more, Clay, right? So in the press conference yesterday, Dana White revealed that I think it's whatever Congress voted it 34-3. So now it's got to go to Senate. Then once Senate passes it, it goes to the president's desk for him to sign. So Dana White's answer is looking pretty good. Looking pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, look, the Mauricio, where was you at during anyway, I don't care. At the end of the day, hey man, Dana stands on his square and says, I ain't changing that damn Ali Act. And y'all keep pushing that narrative. He's like firm on it. Like, I'm not going to keep on arguing with you, mother. Y'all go do y'all research. I ain't changing the damn Ali Act. None of the language in the Ali Act has changed. I've added language that opens up opportunities, that opens up ways for people like me who want to open up independent leagues outside of the sanctioned body's touch. I've done that. And that benefits these fighters because if these leagues start popping open, listen, one thing Dana White ain't scared of is some competition. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. If you want to try to do what I'm doing, please do it. Let's compete. Right. We went through this with UFC. We had Bellator. We had the WEC. We got the PFL. We got all these little leagues that are popping up. You know what I'm saying? The One Champions and all these different things that are popping up. That's what's up. We welcome it, bro. You guys can, just make sure your product, you know what I'm saying, backs up your talk, because a lot of your fighters from your companies, they end up coming up to us, right? Because they test the waters. They go outside. You know what I'm saying? Right. And they go, and they come back to what makes more sense to them. To the devil, you can paint it if you want, that they know.
Hey, Clay, can I address Alexa's question? The hi, guys. So for me, I just want to say to you, brother, not only do I think there's a minor chance, I think there's a major chance. And I'll tell you why I think there's a major chance. Where's Shakur Stevenson fighting at? He's fighting in New York, right? So what's he doing here in Vegas training at the UFC PI? Why is Terrence Crawford here at the UFC PI? Like, what are they doing? What do you need to be here for, right? You're not doing anything for Zuffa Boxing tomorrow. Like, what's going on? What are you guys here for? I think that there are already, like, as Dana said, I don't like when the Jai Apataya signing happened, he was kind of like, he told Brian Campbell on the CBS interview, he said, can't really show all my cards to everybody, of all the things happening, right? And Julian Rodriguez confirmed that. Hey, man, they signed me a year ago. That means they were already scouting and signing people a year before even a rollout was going to happen. So I think a conversation might have already happened with Bud, and I think Bud will have a chance to mull it over. I think that once the 160, the middleweight division, gets cleared itself up, we might see Bud Crawford a la Canelo Crawford, but now it'll be Crawford versus whoever it may be. And there's precedence to this, Clay, because remember, Amanda Nunes was gone for 2.5 years. All of a sudden, she's coming back to fight Kayla Harrison. Unfortunately, as you know, that got canceled because of the injury. But there's precedence for a former world champ that isn't out that long ago to come back to fight the undisputed champion. So I think once we know who the undisputed champ is at middleweight, we'll see Crawford come right back for Zuffa Boxing and fight under the Dana White banner, and honestly probably make more money than he did last year. To your point about the Muhammad Ali Act.
Yeah, I think it's possible for sure, right? But I mean, I could bring up Khabib, right? There's just some people who just ain't budging, right? Who just on their principles and on their they're on their shit. It depends on how Bud is feeling. 100% for me. Is he enjoying his retirement? You know what I mean? He might be in his retirement right now, and he might look back at, you know, coming back into the ring and be like, cutting weight, diet, running. I don't really want to do that much like that. You know what I'm saying? Who knows where he might be at, but 100%, if there's anybody that he would do it with, if he decided to come back, I think Dana White definitely checks the boxes. Ray, were you about to say something?
Oh man, I can't wait. Ooh, hands are greasy, right? Now, I'm not going to speculate on a lot of things, but I like what you said, Angelo. Yes, I think there's a possibility that we may see a Bud Crawford, a future signing of and don't laugh at me, a Ryan Garcia after his last fight with Golden Boys. I think there may be an opportunity for Blair Cobbs, who doesn't get much exposure, or Brendan Lee, who's literally been a prospect and is at like 25-0. That we like exciting fighters, right? And last but not least, I think it might even be a chance for Rashidi Ellis, you know, to even come over, or some of those guys that we haven't seen much in the ring. And I think this is an opportunity for people to get back to where they need to be in boxing and get on a stage where they can perform, they can showcase themselves. A Caleb Plant, who's literally his last fight was a year ago, and the fight before that was almost 2 years before that. So I mean, this is what we've been trying to accomplish in boxing, is getting these guys active. Forget about, and I think you touched on it, Clay, earlier, forget about what the promoters want or what they're doing. Let's talk about activity. Let's keep these boxers active. This is a job for them. These guys are sitting there working in lumber yards or Home Depots, throwing stuff over on a cart and moving things around. And then we got guys like Mauricio Sulaiman. Oh, this is minor leagues. This is not, you know, we hope you do well, but you know, at the same time, we're a foundation, man. The WBC, the WBA, the WBO, the IBF, we're all foundation. We're all together. We're major leagues, bro. But what happens when that subtly change? What happens when all these title holders decide that, okay, yeah, you good, you right, but you know where I'm going? I'm gonna go hang out over here. We're gonna do our thing. And I think that's where it comes down to, and I think that's where the whole essence of it was. I was listening to the Mauricio Sulaiman conversation a little bit, Clay, and it just seems like there's a little jealousy there. It doesn't even seem like he's being honest with himself. You know, yeah, he's wishing well. He has to wish him well, right? Because it's just a business model, right? You got competition. We wish you the best. But we also know that when you're speaking on something and you throw negative shots at people, that's kind of like I'm disgruntled and I'm not really supporting you. So that right there says that all these boxers that may be joining the Zuffa Boxing network or channel or promotional company, hey man, and like I said, not everything's going to be Zuffa. Like Zuffa's going to be there backed by TKO, which they already are, right? So as soon as TKO puts on a match and they bring somebody in that's a champion from wherever, right, and they fight a Zuffa fighter, that's a big card. That's going to be waiting to happen, and we're going to see that happening more often than not. So don't be surprised.
For sure, man.
Oh, he's mad at Caleb Smith, by the way, too.
Huh?
He's mad at Caleb Smith, by the way, too.
Who's mad at Caleb Smith?
He Mauricio Sulaiman is like,
because
he represented my belt, and bro, it's crazy. I'll play it for you later.
Yeah, we covered that a little bit on Tuesday, where I said that Caleb Smith had promised Mauricio that he was going to defend it during the Canelo Crawford undercard, and then he didn't. He said, but don't worry, I'm gonna get you on the next one. Well, the next one's tomorrow, and he ain't defending Jack.
Caleb?
Caleb
Caleb
Walsh.
no,
I'm
he
sorry,
meant
Walsh.
Caleb
Excuse me, Walsh.
Yeah, you meant
Oh, okay,
Caleb.
okay.
Not
Yeah,
Caleb
My
Walsh.
bad. My
You meant
bad.
to
My
say
bad.
Caleb Walsh.
That's on me. My bad.
So yeah, no, the exodus is happening, and yeah, the interesting thing is, and we're not, I'm just doing a fantasy talk here, but Usyk signs with Dana and Zuffa, and Clay's told me that Usyk's already kind of on the back end. We should respect him, whatever fight he wants to do. Yeah, you're right, Clay. It's the perfect signing because he could drop all the belts except for Ring Magazine, not pay any sanctioning fees, and be like, yeah, I'm just following the rules. And the rules say I'm supposed to fight somebody in the top 10. F.A. Jabba's ranked number 8. He's my next opponent.
right.
And I'm fighting in America on CBS.
Yeah, there's plenty of options, man. There's plenty of ways to skin the cat, man. But the press conference, let's talk about the press conference a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Some of the talking points that I thought were important points. First of all, let's talk about
my email, right, Clay? You got my email?
I got it right here. Look, see?
Oh, perfect.
Let's talk about the platforms. You know what I'm saying? The WWE YouTube channel, the new channel that seems to be out right now called the Paramount Boxing Crew. The media that's been, a new channel, by the way. I don't even know if it has over 1,000 subscribers yet. And CBS Sports, it's sitting at like 1.15 million subscribers.
Yeah.
Also streaming streaming this. Dana talked about something real significant in the press conference, right? And he always brings this up, but I think it's something that the reason he brings it up, because he tries to put things into perspective as far as the big fire sale, right? The idea of the big fire sale. You know what I'm talking about, Ray?
Right,
when he talks about every event that he's basically speaking on the irresponsibility of the current promotional structure, not investing back into the infrastructure of boxing, not creating a facility, not facilitating nutrition for the fighters, not facilitating insurance for the fighters during their fights, and if whatever they did facilitate, one way or another, taxing the fighters for it, taking it out of their money, or not doing what they should do, which is invest in their own product. What do you think about that, Ray? Like, do you think that's a legitimate point of view? Do you think that's fair to hold the promotional companies accountable like that?
I do believe that. I mean, we have boxers looking for public structures. Like, we're looking for promotional balance. I'll say loans, to say the least, from major structures, major companies, major networks, right, to build their boxers. But what are happening? Like I just mentioned, like what's going on with all you have all this money, you're building your empire for yourself, nobody else. You're not really signing contract. Shout out to Top Rank, by the way. They did sign the long-term contracts, which would be 2-year, 3-year, 4-year, 5-year deals. With some of these fighters went to an extension, they win a championship, we give you an extension, right? But that was something I thought was pretty cool, right? But then you got like the PBC, who's really like, oh, we need to go get this money. We're going to pay you on the back end. You can get this up front. We'll guarantee you this. All that stuff to be said, and I think even De La Hoya does that to a degree too, right? Even on not even on the pay-per-view circuit, but just the back end on viewerships. And they're pocketing so much. They're not even caring, Clay, about what they're doing. It's almost like trouble in paradise, right? Because they see it. They see that the fact that they can't facilitate certain things without help, assistance, and things of that nature. They can't help themselves. And networks aren't interested anymore, and they're not being fronted anymore, and they don't want to dig into their pockets. They don't want to help support the sport. They really don't care as much as they say they do. So they're pushing back. You got fighters now understanding and pushing back. I don't care who's signed to who and where they're signed to. These fighters want their paydays. They want to be taken care of. You have Mauricio Suleiman talking about there's all these insurance things and these mental health and all these things to help solidify boxing and make them feel a certain way. And what exactly happens with that? Well, we're going over here because we get this. We get a facility. We get healthcare. We get medical. We get this. We get that. We get this. But yet, Mauricio Suleiman saying that he does all this with all these sanctioning fees, monies, and dollars. And nobody, even the lady that represented and whistleblowed on him, pause, literally said, I've never seen none of that. But then you have Bud talking about these dinners that they at with all these high-end executives trying to make more money for themselves. So it all culminates to the same thing, man. These guys are all at the top, grabbing more dollars, grabbing more money for themselves, not caring about the little guy. They're just answering on the playground, just collecting dirt and moving it around to make a bigger mound. That's all this is, man. They're just doing the work for them. And they got to pay on top of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, yeah. To your point, Clay, like the fire sale that Dana always says it, right? He just said it on Bloomberg, and where he was saying, "I'm going to tear this whole thing down. I'm going to build it right back up." Exactly the way I see boxing should be. We again, don't deny what you're seeing with your own eyes. We started the year this way. Remember Dalton Smith versus Subriel Matias? Yep. That's what a fire sale looks like, where you're forcing people without any advertising to have to pay for a product off of why? Because you're trying to nickel and dime every little customer that's willing to give you, you're just selling it off. And then what investment did you do back into it? Nothing. There is no investment. All that was a one-off show with no future television deal. None of the undercard fighters. Honestly, Clay, the undercard fighters are probably all going to end up in Zuffa, right? Like, if I'm being honest about it.
And you couldn't even find the fight.
And Dalton Smith, he signed to Matchroom, right? So they're moving him. They're reinvesting in his stock because, he's a world champion and they want to do all of that. So we've been seeing this format over and over and over again. And like I've said before, I think that the boxing fan base, which is the most dedicated fan base, I mean, boxing fans are more dedicated than Raiders and Jets fans, bro. Like, you guys want to talk about Raiders and Jets getting abused. Boxing fans have been getting abused for the last, 20 years? 20 years of a regime that's overcharging us for A-side, B-side fights and where we already knew who was going to win, right? And say what you want to say, because maybe you don't know who these fighters are that we'll talk about hopefully before the show ends, that's fighting tomorrow. I'm looking at it, and I'm familiar with a good amount of them, and it's 50-50 fights, man, including Ocampo versus Kalen Walsh. I know that there's that narrative. Oh, go ahead and not believe me again. But for me, the way I see Ocampo's body language right now, I think he's coming to show up. I'm not saying he's the one that's going to win. I'm just saying Kalen Walsh better not have the same type of night that Fernando Vargas had. So at the end of the day, Clay, what is Dana White showing us? That you're not, I don't want to say your man, but Al Heyman, that Al Heyman has not done, that Oscar de la Hoya has not done, that Bob Arum has not done, is invest back into the structure of whatever it is that they're trying to promote. And if your job is to be a promoter, then remember what the word means. You actually have to let a mass group of audience know. That's what promotion is. It's marketing, right? You have to promote it. That's your job. You're not the manager. So, Oscar, contrary to popular belief, it is not your job to figure out whether or not Virgil Ortiz gets 60% or not. It's your job to make sure that there's a show that could pay him some sort of money. That's your job. It's Merigian's job to make sure that he gets whatever deal he's supposed to make, right? And that's Dana White. What's one of the quotes we're going to get to hear hopefully today, Clay? Dana White, when somebody was, Kalen Walsh is his boy. Hey, I want to make it very clear to everybody, I have no favorites. When the fight starts, whatever happens, happens. So
those are the fighters to make themselves a star through delivering on the promise, which is that you're the best in the world. Deliver on that idea by competing with the best and proving to the world that you're the best. And I'm going to support you. People are going to think I love you more than everybody else because I'm going to support a champion. I'm going to support somebody who's confronting his fears, you know what I'm saying? Who's fighting the best with no questions. That's why we celebrate. That's why the UFC, we're going to always celebrate a Conor McGregor, or we're going to celebrate a George St. Pierre. We're going to celebrate an Anderson Silva, or, these fighters who challenge themselves and, let nobody, left no stone unturned. And if they lost against the next best guy who became the best guy by beating the best guy. So it is what it is, right? Hold on one second. Let me continue to read here. Shout out to my guy, Stock Chasers in the building, who says these are not 50-50 fights, Ray. Listen, no fight is really 50-50. There are some lopsided spreads tomorrow. Yeah. No fight is truly 50-50, right? But let's talk about that, right? Because Dana White does speak on that. And he says, listen, let's take a look at the record here. What does the record say? The record says that the whole entire card, the record for the whole entire card is 200 and 27 wins, 9 losses. That's a combination of the record of the card, right? Everybody who's fighting each other, all the fights, all their records combined, 227 wins versus 9 losses. What do you think about that?
I think that says to something, right? Because I mean, we just seen that being compared into 2 fighters and building their resumes for who's fighting with experience. So just using that same motto and that same information, Clay, that just means that we have experience in on the card, right? That means that we have guys that's been in the ring, guys that are going to give stiff competition towards each other and create fireworks in the ring, right? They're going to have these moments that we're going to be interested in. We're going to see. I said we're going to see people that we've never seen before fight like they have everything they have to pour into it. And I think that's what happens too with boxing, right? The promotional companies protecting their fighters. Fighters don't, they're giving them like these weak fights where they don't really have to perform. They can take off rounds. They can win rounds easily. The competition's not really who it should be. Payments happen so I can fight this guy and not that guy. Avoidance. This is competition at its best, right? These are guys that are being matched up, to say the least, and building a whole situation where they're going to have to win. Like there's no more, like I said, the records say a lot, right? There's no more, hey man, I'm fighting this bum, or I'm fighting this journeyman, I'm fighting this guy. No, man, listen, that guy has legitimate chance to whip my ass. I have a legitimate chance to whip his ass. I believe I can win, so I'm gonna go in there to do my best. And I believe he believes the same, and he has a good enough record to prove it. So it's kind of like I don't want to say 50-50, but it's damn near close to 50-50 when you see most of these fights going on paper. And that's very important for the structure of boxing, because you want the competition to be either separated in the ring because this guy is just that much better, right? And he just has he's just having a night of his life, or you want it to be so good that the competition is in Billy and Lester Martinez style fight where their guys are really going at each other, and you're going to be like, damn, bro, that was a banger ass fight. That's a fight that I like to see. Guys really putting it all on the line and really risking the biscuit for the ticket. You know what I mean? And that's what you want. And that's what I think we're going to get with Zuffa. There's going to be no shortcomings.
Yeah, no
biscuit for the ticket might be the quote of
the day. Quote that, yo.
Quote that. Now, can I just say this real quick to Stock Chaser? Absolutely love, by the way, Stock Chaser, that you rock with this. We can, you can throw out any names you want to, and we can debate it. But if I was just talking about the 3 main cards, I do believe they're 50-50, right? The one that everybody keeps looking at is, well, Caleb Walsh, because of whatever notoriety you guys believe Caleb Walsh has. Let me explain something to you, man. If you're Carlos Ocampo and if you've never been treated like this before, you did have a hell of a fight against Fundura. And if you still got that fire in your belly at the age of 30, I believe, 30 years old, this kid's 5'11 anyways, right? He does not look like weight drained at all. Like when I was looking at how his facial expressions were yesterday in the press conference. And he looks like he's there to fight, right? He's definitely going to give it the good old college try. But I think he's going to take Caleb Walsh a distance, and I think it's going to take an A game for Caleb Walsh to produce a win. Anything less than an A game from Caleb Walsh, man, you guys need to go rewatch that Ocampo versus Fundura fight so you could kind of see how gritty this guy is. The Misael Rodriguez, who's the bronze medalist, I believe, from Mexico, who's undefeated against Austin Deonda. I don't know if you caught it, Clay, the way Deonda was speaking in the press conference yesterday, but the native nightmare looks like he got some, he's only 22, and he looks like he didn't come here to lose to no bronze medalist, bro, to me, right? So right away, I have that as 50-50, and I know a lot of you guys are rocking with Kane Sandoval because he's so young. Please keep in mind that the kid is a smaller kid. He's 140 pounds fighting a real 147 in Julian Rodriguez, who just knocked out of the ring Avius Griffin. So the plus money, the last time I checked it, Clay, was like plus 400. Bet that Bet
Julian?
that just
Like
because.
plus 400 for a knockout or something, or for the win?
No, plus 400 straight up. It might have already started to get closer
When
to
I saw
even.
plus 148, I didn't see it in no 400.
Oh, it did start to go. It started to see. People are getting smart. They're like, yeah, people are getting smart because I feel like they're starting to see that we're going to find out how good Kane Sandoval is, but this is a real challenge for Kane Sandoval, and he's putting his undefeated record against Julian Rodriguez, who is every bit ready to go. So just the main card alone, Stock Chaser is 50-50 to me. Just the main card alone, and that's not even talking about all the other undercards yet. But go ahead, Clay.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Hey, shout out to Sam from Jersey again, man, with the support, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate you, King. Says thank you, Ray Davis and Angelo Reyes, for giving us this great boxing talk. The ATP community loves you guys. Clay, you the GOAT, man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you, man. Thank you for the support, man. Thank you for the support. But yeah, guys, is all these fights 50-50? I mean, listen, no. I'm not. They're not all 50-50 fights, but they're competitive fights, stylistically good matchmaking fights. Anybody can win these fights. There's favorites, of course. There's always 9 out of 10 times going to be favorites, or very rarely. But even with the Julian Rodriguez fight, he's a plus 148, and Kane Sandoval is a negative, is a minus 205. I mean, they're about as competitive as they're going to get, right? But let's see how they deliver on the night. We got a great matchmaker. Obviously, Dana White's hired a matchmaker, and the matchmaker's been given the assignment, and he's trying to carry it out, which is let's make the most competitive fights that we can make, right? We want to make real champions. And I think, obviously, the benefit is also in the development of these fighters. Facing their challenges is what's going to make them evolve into the next level of fighter that they need to evolve into. Big fights on the card, not big fights, but the fights. I'll say, I won't say big so people ain't knocking me over the head for saying big. Pause. The fights on the card are clear. Obviously, we know the headliner is Kalen Walsh and Ocampa. We know Ocampa's background, but I think that the guys who are stealing the show right now, the energy that's stealing the show right now, is definitely Julian Rodriguez and what's my guy's name? That Kane Sandoval. These guys seem to be sparking up the energy, and Julian Rodriguez seems to be somebody who's full of a lot of personality, right? He knows I need to sell myself. He's trying to bring that part of the game that a lot of UFC fighters do. When you think about that, you think about Chael Sonnen, you think about the Colby Covingtons, you think about Conor McGregor, obviously. You think about these guys who brought that personality to the press conference and really put the story and put the heat up and made the build up to the fight, all of that. Did you get a chance to see the press conference and see their little mix up at all, Ray?
No.
Oh, you didn't see the presser?
No. Which one?
No, the Zuffa presser.
No. I seen some of it, but it was just I seen them like kind of arguing back and forth. We talking about I don't know who he's fighting. Anyway, yeah, I seen them two going at it. They had to pull them apart. Dana got in the middle of it, and I was like, "Yo, that's crazy! Like they're really these guys are really taking this seriously, man." And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get off topic here. You know what I mean? I got like 3 different things going on because I'm listening to sidebars, you and this, and I got like distracted with some dumb stuff that I just watched somewhere.
Okay.
But no disrespect, man.
So Angelo, you seen the press conference?
Yeah, no, of course we were watching. Yeah, we were watching it simultaneously, Clay.
Exactly.
No, I you're right. Out of all of them, it seemed like the energies Julian Rodriguez and Sugar Cane Sandoval, as they call him. So the kid's 22, right? He's a youngster. He's from Sacramento, he's gritty. If you guys have not seen,
he sold tamales, bro. You saw, he said, you come from
sold tamales, right? He's trying to give the
bro.
Pacquiao story, right? He's trying to give the Pacquiao story. At the end of the day, hey man, look, you're training with one of the greatest trainers of our time in Freddie Roach. So now you got his name on your back, bro. You're undefeated, you're younger, you should have every advantage. So if you're about it, we better see a war. And I think that's kind of what he wants to deliver is that type of a war. I think where Julian Rodriguez is at, though, and why I'm kind of picking him is when you've been through it, right? The ups and downs of your career, and you feel like you're finally getting the shot, right? you're going to be fighting in kind of like the NBA version of the bubble, it's all just going to come down to your skills. And power is one thing, as we saw with Brian Norman, but skills is another, as we saw with Devin Haney. And I just don't know if Kane Sandoval got the same level of skill set as Hammer Hands. And he's not called Hammer Hands because his punches tickle, by the way. 100%. He hits hard too, bro. He hits hard too. Isn't
this the guy who isn't this the guy who got the story with Gervonta Tank Davis back in the day? Wasn't he the guy who was talking about he knocked
like the amateurs,
quit or something like that? Yeah, right. That's who Julian Gonzalez. Okay, I know who he is. Yeah.
No, but you know what I'm saying, Clay, right? Like, if you're Julian Rodriguez and you knocked out a bigger person in Avius Griffin out the ring, bro, you knocked him out the ring. You think you're gonna be scared of a little 140 dude? Nah, he ain't scared of your grills, bro. You know, you better come correct. And as a fan, I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's fight of the night. I hope it's so fight of the night that CBS shows the replay while I'm watching the NFL on Sunday. So do your thing.
That's a good point. Listen, I like what you just said. That's good. You know what? Because we're going to get coverage media, right? We're going to see ESPN covering this, believe it or not. We're going to see them putting, hey, look at Zuffa's first event, blah, blah, blah. We're going to see all that. And that's what I said. The broader scale of this is we got to understand that this is going to bring boxing back to the forefront. Yes, I couldn't think of his name, Sandoval. That was messing me up. I knew J-Rod, right? And I was like, darn, what was his name? Clay just said it. Yes, man. This is I disagree with you a little bit there, Angelo. I think him coming up from 140 is going to make it for an interesting fight, because even though this guy, J-Rod is probably a more a fighter with a great punch and experience, and probably just as talented in the ring, these fighters are close in size all the time. So they're just where they're willing to shrink down to and fight for the divisions. So when you get a J-Rod and a Sandoval in the ring, fireworks, like I said earlier, right? This is going to be closer than what people think. Yes, it might be closer to 50-50 on paper than it is actually just looking at the fighters and how they view each other. The bully not always wins in this situation. And you've seen J-Rod a lot of pressing, right? You see Sandoval talking crap because he wants to make sure that he knows that he's there. But Sandoval's like, J-Rod's like, yo, bro, seriously? That's what we're doing right now? Yo, you don't want this. And come to figure, they're close in size anyway, right? So this is gonna be something that we're gonna watch, and it's gonna be something crazy. And like I said, the boxer versus the puncher. So just pay close attention to that, because that's going to be the real fight we get tonight. And I think that might be the spark of the night.
Well, it's the opener for the main card starting at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Paramount Plus tomorrow night. And I want to say it on the record. When we see you on the show next week, Julian, I want you to remember that I was rocking with you. Win or lose, we're going to have you on the show. But yeah. I'm rocking with you, Julian. I think you're gonna stop this kid. So we'll see what happens. So,
I think
hold on a second. Let me just get this super chat off the screen. Shout out to Stock Chasers. Says excited to see the Zuffa Boxing production on TV 100. No doubt, man. Appreciate the support again, man. Thank you. Let me just look at one more thing here. I just need to just double check this right here. I'm happy that Clay is pumping up. Yeah, no doubt. Appreciate everybody in the building. Hey, guys, hit the like button if you haven't done so. Subscribe to the channel. Let's support the channel. I appreciate the love and the color in the chat today. The conversation is a conversation that we've been talking about for a while here. This is about Zuffa Boxing. And as I stated to Reyes yesterday, I said it to Ray, they always say the proof is in the pudding. Guys, we are in the pudding. It's time. You know what I mean? It's time for it's time for all the talk to be backed up with some data now.
Right.
We've seen the press conference. The production was there. Dana White spoke his truth, answered his questions, available. And everybody took those questions. Great media, by the way. I don't know what you guys thought about the media.
Yeah. Listen, man, I'm going to tell you the most impressive part, and you guys are going to laugh at me. Please don't. But it was the most impressive part. When that press conference was over, the cleanup crew, boom. I was
Yeah.
like, damn,
That's
right.
true.
Yo,
The
they
truck
was-
backing up. Beep, beep,
Yo, they
beep.
was like, they was
That's
quick
true.
with it. And I was like, yo, they already cleared the stage. There ain't nothing on there. You know what I mean? And just to say that just means that you got people that are willing to do the job and they're trying to do everything with perfection. They're trying to lay this out for the fans, man, and be a fan. Be a fan of the sport, man, because at the end of the day, this is what we need. This is what we don't want to see a guy in a green suit doing a comedian doing a presser and don't know nothing about the fight or the boxers and just talking because he's from the area and on a campus and nobody knows what the heck you're talking about. You know, like we don't want to see that. We want to see real live conversation, and that's what it comes down to, and that's what we're going to get, man. This is going to be great. I promise you. You're going to be surprised of the results. Yeah, is it going to be leaning towards, as I mentioned, more of those like main event fights? Towards that main events on USA or something like that? Yeah, it's going to be something like that, of course, in the beginning because they're building, but it's going to be exciting. Going to get these fighters going. We're going to see these fighters taking care of business.
Shout out to my guy JR Spock. Said, Rain, how long until we get Bonner Griffin moment with Zuffa?
Hey, JR Spock, we might get that tomorrow, bro.
Yeah.
With Julian Rodriguez versus Gabe
I'm telling you, that might be a little rivalry in there, man. That might be a sequel in the making, you know what I'm saying? Depending on how the fight goes out. That might be they might run it back at some point, you know what I'm saying? So
right.
And we don't know what's gonna happen between Caleb and Ocampo, bro. So
again, I don't want to like disregard the smaller cards.
Let's not forget let's not forget the prelims, man. With Robert Merriweather and Troy Nash and those guys are going to be throwing.
Let me go over that real quick. So for you guys who will have time on the East Coast, the preliminary cards on Paramount Plus, included in your Paramount Plus subscription for free, is at 6 p.m. Us in the West Coast, it starts at 3. So if you're still in school, then I guess you'll have to watch it on your phone. It starts with Troy Nash, who's 5-0, 1 draw, against Jacob Ramos, who's 4-0. Both prospects, and again, I spoke about this before, Clay. Jacob Ramos is only 25 years old. You already know Troy Nash is with his buddy, Roger Merriweather. He's only 20 years old. So that's going to be a very good contested 6-round, 126-pound fight. And I honestly, I would lean Troy Nash, but I don't know, man. Like I said, I don't know. Roger Merriweather, who you got to interview a little bit, Clay, he's 9-0.
I would, by the way, just want to be clear.
Yeah, I said Merriweather. Yeah.
No, you said Roger.
Oh, did I say my bad, dude? Now I'm messing it up.
Yeah,
Robert Merriweather.
Yeah.
If it's not one Mayweather, it's another.
I'm trying not to say Mayweather. You sitting here saying Roger.
I just said Roger. I'm thinking about the great Uncle Roger. Sorry about that. But Robert Merriweather, who has trained in the Mayweather gym before, I just want to say, Robert Merriweather, who is 20 years old, he is fighting at the 130-pound 6-rounder against Cesar Correa, and don't sleep on this 25-year-old kid, Cesar Correa from Idaho, man. You don't know, man.
What's his record?
5-0. Yeah, Merriweather should win, but again, if we don't know, let's just relax a little bit, right? Because we don't know. And then to me, what was interesting is Emiliano Cardenas, who's only 21 years old. You notice the trend here, Clay? 20-year-old, 20-year-old, 21-year-old, right? Emiliano Cardenas is one of the top-ranked guys. So here's another top-ranked guy that's signed to Zuffa. He's 8-0, 118 pounds. He is fighting a bantamweight 6-rounder against the 7 wins, 1 loss, Marcus Harris at the Hitman. The Hitman Harris, who is only 20 years old, Clay. This might be fight of the prelims right here, bro. A 21-year-old against a 20-year-old. We might have a nice little Elijah Vines versus Jaleel Hackett on this one. The kid's from Chicago, Illinois, born in Chicago or Granite City, Illinois. He trains out of Lakeland, Florida. I don't know, man. This one could be a good one. That could be a good one. And then that's a 6-rounder. at 118, and then Floyd Diaz, who I believe is also a top ranked guy, right? So
really
what's
going
on with top rank? Like, again, begs the question.
Right.
Here's another top ranked guy, right? 22 years old, 118 pounds. He is fighting a 6th rounder against
Guillermo
GMO Gutierrez, who I think has fought in OTX before. He's 27 years old, 118 pounds. His last win was against Elizondo. That might have been at OTX. I'm not sure. But that'll be a good fight. He's 13 wins, 2 losses. Obviously, I'm picking Floyd Diaz for that one.
Right.
And then the main event of the preliminary card is featherweight, 126 pounds, with Omar Trinidad, who I believe is ranked number 5 right now by the WBC at 126 pounds. Omar Trinidad, 19 wins, no losses, 2 draws, and he is only 30 years old, so he's kind of in the prime of his career, trying to get a title shot, trying to get into Ring Magazine rankings. He's fighting a familiar name in Max Babyface Ornelas, 17 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 27 years old. I think for Babyface, this is because he last time he fought was with Matchroom. So I think he's moving up from 122 to try 126. So I would favor Omar Trinidad on this one, but like I said, man, Max Ornelas isn't just some kind of a weird opponent. You know, he's coming off of a win in Matchroom. So that's a good card, Clay. That's a good card.
For sure, man. Salute to Sam from Jersey. Man, thank you, Sam. By the way, you going in today, bro. You really supporting the channel, man. I appreciate it, bro. That color, it means something, man. It really helps to build the platform. Because trust me, that's what it gets invested into. Is right back in the platform, right back into the StreamYard, right back into these overlays, these thumbnails, the equipment that I'm talking on, the upgrade to whatever happens in the studio, the ability to even travel, you know what I mean, go to events, interviews, go to gyms, things that I plan on doing, you know what I'm saying, trying to build that war chest up to allow this platform to be involved in a lot of conversations, huge conversations, right? So I appreciate it. Sam from Jersey says, question for you guys, 10 years ago, could you ever foreseen Zuffa, Dana White making their introduction? Also, will Zuffa take over, monopolize boxing? 10 years ago, could I have seen it? Yeah. Did I see it like in real time? Not really, because I felt like Dana White put his toe into the water and decided at that point that he wasn't going to mess with the game. And I believed him because he saw that he didn't have the ability to really impact the game he wanted to. He always spoke about if he was going to come into boxing, he need to be able to break it all the way down and start it his way. And he didn't really have a way to do that. Obviously, with the introduction of Turkey Al-Sheikh in Saudi Arabia, who brought that money and made things a lot more possible. But I think it's amazing because Dana's always wanted to do this, right? If people followed Dana White and followed him in the UFC, then you know one of the biggest lies at points, but maybe people just don't know. But one of the biggest misconceptions about Dana White is how passionate he is about the sport of boxing. People don't know his story.
He loves it. He loves it.
Yeah, the people who follow Dana know Dana loves this sport and always has wanted. This was what he wanted to do. This was his entrance into combat sports. He thought he was going to be in the boxing game, but the politics of the game became, just unbearable. And he found something in the UFC, something that was raw, wasn't legal, but he saw the combat, the value in it, and the way that would cross over with the combat sports fans in America. And he convinced the Fertitta brothers to get into it, right, and put some money behind it. But this was always his dream and always an aspiration of his. But that being said, him getting the opportunity by having this crazy war chest of money that's been allocated towards pushing this sport gives him an opportunity to do something he always wanted to do from the beginning. So that's why I'm really excited about it, because I know that he's excited about it, man. So I'm expecting him to really put his best foot forward in it. Oh,
go ahead. Well, I was just gonna respond to what Sam says, but go ahead, Clay. Go ahead.
Yeah. So as far as will Zuffa take over and monopolize boxing? That's all up to the other promoters, bro. Right? That's not up to Dana. If you leave it up to Dana and you don't give any pushback, if you don't compete, if you don't put on the best fights, if you don't start listening to the fans and provide, because it's going to be them really, right? Like Dana's going to, he's going to go hard, period. He's going to go hard and try to do it. And if it turns out that a lion's share of the boxing space, fighters, more importantly, find his business model and his approach to promoting boxing to be what they want to be involved with, then it can look like Dana's monopolizing and taking over the sport. But it doesn't have to be that way at all. It can be the free market that it is, and Oscar De La Hoya and Eddie Hearn and all those promoters that we're familiar with, and the ones that we don't know, matter of fact, can put their best foot forward and say, damn, bro, we need to start competing on a high level. And we win either way, right? We win either way. The fighters also win, maybe even more importantly, either way, because they got people fighting over their influence, their rights, you know what I'm saying? They got people fighting over their skills. So this is the position that all of those guys want to be in. But I'll land my plane there and say that anything is possible.
Yeah, no, I'll answer it in a different sense, Sam. So the question being, 10 years ago, could we have foreseen it? 10 years ago, Dana White did start Zuffa boxing. It was during the leg of the Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather, and the timing wasn't right. He was still trying to figure out. The UFC was hot, right? It was moving forward in a certain global trajectory. He didn't really have the bandwidth that he needed in order to be able to do it. So 10 years ago, he did not. But what I'll say is, prior to that, there was a company that did try to do the very thing that you're talking about in your question, and that was called PBC. And PBC gave it the good old college try and lost, what was it, Clay? 600 million or something like that, 500 million of investors' money.
6 billion. 6 billion.
Yeah. It was a lot of money, right? It was a lot of money. So they tried, and with no structure, and you're spending money on Hans Zimmer to come up with a tune instead of spending that money on, I don't know, fighter nutrition, Performance Institute, so again, boxing is benefiting off of the back of all of the UFC growth. Right. The Performance Center is not called the Boxing Performance Center. It's called the UFC Performance Institute, right? And that's what, it's funny to me that you're seeing Shakur Stevenson and he's doing all his drills, double end bag. He's doing all of it. There's a cage right there, bro. There's an octagon right next to him when you're seeing the shots, right? I think that we did see someone attempt it. They did their best. Kudos for the try. And they didn't work out. So now we get to have a new evolution of it. And in terms of monopoly, I don't know. Is the NFL a monopoly? Is the NBA a monopoly? Is Major League Baseball a monopoly, right? People have choices. You can do what you want. Even with the whole UFC monopoly. During that time, if you wanted to, you could go to Japan, fight for Strikeforce, or fight for Pride. You could go fight at the time for Strikeforce. You could fight for Bellator when it came out. You could fight for the PFL. At a certain point, there was NBC did their own thing called the World Series of Fighting. If you guys don't remember, that's where Justin Gaethje and Michael Johnson came from. Again, I understand this isn't a MMA network, Clay. I'm just throwing out examples that when they say, well, UFC's a monopoly, there were other choices. It's just that UFC was the one given the best. So the only thing that's happening here is Zuffa Boxing seems to be giving the best deal that people who want those deals can have. And for people like Troy Isley, who you interviewed today, Clay, I don't know what to tell you about the reservation, bro, but I don't know if they'll want him by the time he figures out that he wants to come around. Or even if they do want him, they might not give him as much as they're giving Julian Rodriguez. I don't know what to tell you.
With Troy Isley, one thing that I pulled away from that interview is Troy Isley's not in a happy place. One way or the other, right? He's very disappointed where his career is at right now, where the way it's been moved by Top Rank. It's personal for him. He wasn't sharing too much about exactly what it was, but he summarized it very simply by just saying, It could have been better. It should have been better. He feels like a lot of other fighters got the push. He didn't. And he didn't. And he spoke on the Janibek situation and said that, hey man, he felt like he needed more looks. He wasn't active enough. He didn't want to go to Kakistan to go fight this guy in his backyard and not, it wasn't, the fight wasn't pumped enough to be big enough. He wasn't promoted big enough to have the fan base that would translate into him making money. It wasn't big money for him. And even when, I'm sure hindsight, him seeing what happened with Janibek popping on his test, if he would have accepted a fight to fight Janibek in Kakistan, who knows if he would have even popped on that test, right? So hindsight, probably has him feeling like, I'm glad I went with the gut feeling I had, and my team looked out for my best interests. But yeah, he was definitely an example of what these promotional companies, what these management companies, whatever you want to call them, what they're doing out here for these fighters. You know what I mean? So Zuffa, shout out to El Star, who spoke to him and said, listen, man, she's having a change of heart. She said in the beginning it was all about Dana White. Yeah, she said it was all about Dana White. It was all about these other things. And she said, but after speaking with the fighters, she has to admit, like, the fighters seem to be in the best place they can be in. They're very happy. These fighters talk about being inactive, not being able to get, the exposure. And now they seem to all be getting this with the snack program, with the insurance, with the amenities that come with, and all the perks that come with working with Zuffa. And, she tried to encourage him to at least be open-minded to, having a dialogue with the Zuffa and see if Zuffa could potentially, could potentially accommodate something that makes sense for him and get him what he's asking for. Because all the things that he went down the list that he was asking for, legitimately, like I'm saying, at least 9 out of 10 of them, if not 10 out of 10 of them,
Zuffa will give it to you.
Zuffa is proving that that's what they're there to do. So I thought he was gonna go. I ain't gonna lie, because when Ness told me that he was coming up yesterday, Ness said that he had a big announcement he was gonna make, and I was like, "Oh, is it gonna be?"
What was the big announcement? That he's leaving Top Rank?
That's what was so weird about it. There was really no big announcement. So, and like I said, very disappointed. Very disappointed Troy Isley on the show today. If you guys watch the show, so it's almost like you got to ask yourself, was there supposed to be a big announcement and he didn't? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, look, listen, man, look. At the end of the day, Zuffa Boxing's not Walmart. You can't just walk in and think you're included in the club. So if they didn't go to scout you, that's a different sort of negotiations. If you're the one asking them, if you could be a part of the group. Now, I don't know what happened because I wasn't the one interviewing them, Clay. So maybe we'll have Troy Isley on the show at some point. You're an undefeated fighter. You're certainly someone that should be celebrated and promoted, and your career can move forward. So that's great. But the one answer I heard him say to you was when he said, I don't know, I kind of want to see what they're doing. Look, man, I'm just telling you from experience that the UFC brass, they don't really like that kind of attitude. You either want to be a part of it and they're going to treat you like gold, or you don't. And if you're unsure, then that's your prerogative, but don't expect to get the top dollar, because there's plenty of fish in the sea, like Alexander Usyk and others, that they are actually going after. So hopefully you're signed to Matchroom or something. I don't know. Maybe you're signed to Frank Warren at this point. I don't know.
Whatever. I'm not even interested in that right now at the moment. I mean, it is news, so I'm not disrespectful to it, but I was trying to get to the question that was put up here in the super chat. And, we went on a Troy Isley bit.
Oh, go ahead, right?
No. I am going ahead, but no, thank you, appreciate it. What I was going to say, is that I mean, as far as it being a monopoly, no, I don't think they can take over. I think what happens is, it goes to a situation of, look what we have building, right? Because all the other promotional companies anywhere are working with Ring and Riyadh, right? Just to say the least, and not to factor in that. When they all merge together, Zuffa's working with the same platforms. So all these fighters are going to be somehow in the same circle legitimately anyway. So if anybody's going to monopolize them, we got to give heads up to Turki Al-Sheikh, who's actually using this platform to build boxing even further. We're forgetting about Turki and what he's done for boxing. We're forgetting about the fights that we have put together. Matchroom actually crossing the street, and Top Rank crossing the street. Oscar crossing the street, and all these things happening. this is actually a good thing, because now with another platform that's going to be structured a certain way, we want to see how that parallels to the rest of boxing, and how when it does cross the street, when they do get on the ring cards, when they do get in the Riyadh season and they're fighting, does that translate to them being more ready and prep fighters? That's where I think the question lies in. I think that's where we'll see the benefits of Zuffa boxing, is when they're on a grand stage and they're fighting the topper or the other competition of the other networks, and if it's working and successful. And I think we will see a challenge of that. I don't think it changes the aspect of it being a monopoly or them taking over. I just think it helps them build a platform where all fighters eventually are going to understand what it is. And you'll see other promotional companies doing something similar, and it'll change boxing. I think it'll grow into that because of Riyadh and Ring Magazine being a big part of all of boxing, including Zuffa.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, Ray, man. I thought those were some good points. And I, just to sum it up in what I was saying earlier, it's competition, baby.
Right.
Compete. That's what the name of the game is. I'll let you actually answer this one first, and then we'll work backwards on this one here. Sam from Jersey says one more, and shout out to Sam, bro. He's really jumped on the channel, man, and I appreciate the love, man. Thank you for the support today, man. Thank you for the support today, man. It says one more quick question for all you guys. What do you think will happen to the PBC and Top Rank and MVP, and et cetera, basically to the promotional companies in the future? So I think he's speaking towards the trajectory of all these companies at this point with the presence of Zuffa. What you got on this one, Ray?
I think it's going to be whatever model is working, right? Whatever starts trending. If Zuffa just starts trending and it becomes the model of boxing, and currently as it moves, you're going to see the trends move towards that direction. You're not going to see companies that, it's almost like the football league, right? I'm glad you mentioned NFL earlier, Angelo. What do they do in football, right? If it works, and it doesn't matter if it's college, NFL, or whatever, right? If it's working for one team, the tush push, the what's the name offense, right? The what's the cover two defense, things like that. If it works for one team, what happens? Other teams like to get in on it. They want to like, hey, if it's working there, it's going to work here, right? Now we got this pistol offense. Pistol offense is probably the most lucrative offense in football right now. It went from high school to college. Now it's all the way up in the NFL, and these guys are drafting quarterbacks that are slash runners slash passers, and they're doing that on the benefit of it working. So every time you see something change and it bridges and it creates more and better or makes more sense, let's put it that way, for the sport, people seem to gravitate towards that, and maybe they'll tweak it a little bit here and there because they're different. They feel that they could do something better, whatever the case may be, but it always seems to trend a certain direction. I think Zuffa is going to create some trends, is going to create a little bit of change in boxing. I do honestly believe that. And I think PBC, Top Rank, MVP, if you don't see them merging or collaborating at some point with Zuffa, then you're in for a long term of disappointment, because they will. And like I said earlier, let's look at the key factor here. We have Riyadh and Ring Magazine behind this, working with TKO closely with Zuffa. So we already know that those other promotional companies work with Riyadh and Ring Magazine. So what happens when they all get on the same page? Matchroom and all these guys. You're going to see logistically great fights for the business, right? We're going to see it. It's going to pattern its way for the better. And I think that's what we're going to see at the end of the day.
I think, I'm gonna be honest with you, I think consolidation, ultimate consolidation is what I see for the companies that are smart enough to consolidate. Unless these guys can find a budget, unless they can find some money that's willing to get behind their business model, they're going to drown. I think PBC, Top Rank, Top Rank, I'm still in the air about. I feel like there's networks out there interested in what they bring, because they have that archive. They have that thing. So I'm not going to be shocked at all to hear that Top Rank, even if it's second quarter of this year, gets what they're looking for. And I think they're hanging out there. You know what I'm saying? I think they're playing hardball right now, because I believe they do have some players in the game who see value in their roster, who see value in their archive, who see value in the way they moved their business when they were with ESPN because they didn't have the big pay-per-views. Everything was in a big pay-per-view for them. They were giving the events on ESPN. You know what I'm saying? They were kind of like they were working something that can be tweaked, but doesn't need to be dissolved per se. Right. Whereas the PBC model, in my personal opinion, is a model that is just, I think 9 out of 10 investors are looking at that model like, I don't want nothing to do with it. Like, I think most investors are looking at the PBC way of doing business and be like, you guys still ain't changed it yet? Yeah, PU, you're still not interested. You guys haven't changed it? You guys are still sitting here trying to sell 12 pay-per-views a year, bro, at $80 a piece? No. You guys haven't signed no new fighters? You don't have no up and coming prospects or nobody work? Nah, bro. Everything stinks over there. Nothing makes sense. You're not active. You're not developing your fighters. Your fighters are fighting on Pro Box. They're fighting everywhere. We're not interested. PBC's best bet, more than likely, is to allow their company to be absorbed by something bigger, better, more money behind it, new way of thinking, leaving the pay-per-view model, following the streaming model, saving their pay-per-views for the biggest fights possible, and making themselves more available, destroying the across-the-street politics. Let's go ahead and collaborate more often, be open to making the biggest fights, championship fights. Your whole entire mantra and the way you approach this sport needs to be touched. And if you're not willing to do that, if you're going to continue to force things we're not looking for, then I think the game will automatically just, like a bad, it will just spew you out. The game will just like an infection. The body will do what it's supposed to do. It'll heat up. It'll get hot. It will heal, and it will spew you out like mucus, and there'll be nothing left of you unless you're smart enough to smell what's cooking, to read the room better. That's what I believe. What you think, Ray? I mean, Ray.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that PBC, Sam, we're already seeing it. The year rolled out, and the first show that we're going to get to watch, I guess that's PBC's involved in, is not a PBC show. I mean, I guess it is, sort of, but everybody knows that it's Riyadh 7. Turkey Al Sheikh's the one that's paying for it. I don't exactly know what kind of cut they're getting off of Mario Barrios and some of the others that are their own fighters. But at the end of the day, it's on DAZN, and it's on DAZN not because PBC made a deal with DAZN. It's because Turkey Al Sheikh and Saudi owns 10% of DAZN. It's a ring card, so already again, there's not a PBC stench to it, right? I almost feel like it's a favor that Turkey Al Sheikh is doing. He's like, you know what? I will do you guys this favor, and I will go ahead and put it as a ring card, and let's continue to talk about me absorbing your company.
Yeah, good faith.
I think that's going to happen, by the way. And when you said PU, I was like,
let me finish. But yeah, I think we're already seeing it with our own eyes, whether you want to agree with it or not. As to Clay's point, exactly, PBC, if you Google search it, has the bad stench of losing whatever 600 million or however many millions is hundreds of millions of dollars it was to their investors. So, I don't think any network's willing to touch that. And they got one play. Actually, let me take that back. They have 2 plays. They could either continue to fight the good fight and just be dissolved, or have a resolution and say, thank you, Turkey, and we bend the knee to you. And please, continue to accept
us. Pay out the people who don't really care about boxing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Get them out the way.
Yeah, nah. So that's what I think's happening with PBC. Here's the interesting one with most valuable promotions. Keep in mind that MVP moves as Jake Paul moves, and Jake Paul's not fighting this year because of the jaw. So I think they do have fighters signed. I think that they're going to try to really focus on women's boxing. I think that that's where you're going to see them become a differentiator. I'm not sure that Zuffa is interested or is quite ready to put the kinks into doing women's divisions in their league yet. But MVP does have women signed. I've already heard news on the UK side that they're doing a UK MVP show, which will feature their women champions. So I think that that's what's going to happen with MVP in 2026. Jake Paul already left the PFL because the PFL just changed presidents. So who knows if Jake's going to try to do a soiree into MMA with PFL showing some sort of weaknesses maybe happening there. I don't know, but that I think that in terms of boxing, they're going to be a lot more focused on their women, and we'll see what happens. Just a quick throw out there to anyone who listens. Alicia Bumgarner's mandatory opponent is Alif Nerf Turhan. So just so that you guys know, anyone who loves Alicia Bumgarner, just keep that in mind. The WBA 130-pound interim champion is the knockout queen. I'm just saying. And then as far as Top Rank, I hear you, HLD. I understand what you're saying, but you're also saying that you're gambling on the fact that deal is going to come through, because I don't know. For all I know, Paramount might come in last second and turn the whole apple cart around, and Paramount absorbs Warner Brothers and Discovery, to your point. So if that's what Top Rank's plan is, maybe that's why they're losing so many of their fighters to Zuffa, because the plan has no plan. And for right now, thank you, Top Rank, for continuing to allow us to watch free, great boxing matches that you're providing on Tubi. Unfortunately, you gave it to us last minute, so everybody's kind of focused on Zuffa boxing right now, because it's what's when people say, Clay, that we're pushing Zuffa, how are we the ones pushing Zuffa when it's all we're seeing in the news, right? I didn't see in mainstream news Top Rank and Tubi, right? Unless there's a Tubi outlet I didn't know about that talks about news. I didn't see that. And as far as Matchroom, I'm only seeing like Matchroom and maybe some UK people, but a lot of the talk is Zuffa. So no, HLD, it ain't no gamble, brother. It ain't no gamble. If you're saying I'm gambling, well, the UFC got $7.7 billion. So I wonder what Zuffa boxing will get 7 years from now, right, Clay? There's a 5-year period that Dana White says he's got to prove to Paramount that it's all worth it. The full contract is a 7-year contract. So I bet you in 5 years, he's going to get an extension and he'll get more money for Zuffa boxing. In the meantime, I agree with you though, Clay, that Top Rank's library is so big that I do hope someone buys it, right? Netflix, somebody buy that awesome library so that it can be showcased forever. Maybe ESPN will do it. Who knows? I mean, I don't know.
I agree. And I was actually ready to touch back on that, because I like what Clay said about that library, right, being what it is and having the great history that it does. What we could look at is, again, I just said about following the leader, right? What's working is what's working for me is going to work for everyone. It's going to change the game. And I think what we're looking at is networks getting back into, like prime networks, getting back into boxing. If Zuffa works out on Paramount, who you think is going to be next? You're really going to see Peacock holding boxing, or you're going to see Fox holding boxing, and you're going to start seeing these networks, major networks, probably doing big deals, maybe even doing a deal with DAZN itself. So we see DAZN fights now on a regular network channel, where we're not looking to subscribe to an app just to watch the fights. This may change boxing going forward, because of Zuffa's if the success rolls out that we expect it to be. And we only need to see a 6-month turnaround, right? We don't need to see a whole 5 years. We don't need to, because it's going to grow. And once we see the turnaround in the sport parallel, people start moving in a certain direction, you'll start seeing all these other networks gravitating to the same model. And that's what happens. Okay, hey, where's that fighter that we were looking for? Which one? The Charlo brothers. Where are they at? Okay, you know what? Bring that company over here. Right? Let's bring it over here. Matter of fact, let's bring that company and this company here, both together, and then we'll just talk to them both, and we'll see, as you heard Oscar say, right? Yeah, we're talking about making big deals, whatever it is. Maybe there is something on the horizon, right? And that's what we want, because we want to see the competition stellar, but we also want to see these guys in great performance. We want to see the boxing giving to the customer, and the customers are not allowed to view everything due to the fact that everything is $80, $90, $75. So now that this may move and get to, Netflix showed the world that they can bring more numbers and more eyes to boxing than PBC's ever did with their biggest fighters. Bro, I mean, who's to tell what can happen if you are able to put this on any network with commercials for free? I'm just saying, money talks, baby, and I think Zuffa's going to prove it. Yeah. I think being backed by TKO and all these other, and Riyadh and all them, is going to change the game. Yeah,
it's about that time for me, guys. I got to make moves. But Hey man, great conversation, great build today, man. I thought it was a good show. Hope everybody found some quality, some value in the build. Thank you once again for the super chat, Sam from Jersey, man. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for the support today, man. The color in the chat. Everybody else too who supported today. Who is it? Nas, 610 Nas in the building. Thank you for the support. The Libra. I appreciate you both, stock chasers, man. I appreciate you, all you guys, man, who help support.
Sam from Jersey, the big winner. Sam from Jersey.
Jersey, baby. Not to mention, did anybody catch any bit of the Ryan thing in Barrios?
I did. I was. That's what I was doing a lot while y'all were talking. I was looking at it. It was dry.
Ryan's a clown, bro. He ruined it. I'll be honest with you. I think Barrios even got distracted where he just didn't want to be a part of that clown show. So
yeah, it was.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna watch it better.
Let's end with the super chat, bro. Like,
hold on a second, because I gotta wrap this up and get up out of here, right?
So we're good though.
So I appreciate everybody in the building. Thank you, Sam, again, man. Says Clay, you have great co-hosts. Thank you, Ray and Angelo. No doubt, man.
Oh, man,
shout out to Ray, shout out to Angelo, man. They really make this whole entire experience what it is. You know what I'm saying? Having people to be able to dialogue with and throw thoughts off of and get new ideas and perspective from, it makes a big difference. And of course, everybody in the chat plays their role as well, man. Everybody who's engaging in the chat with their point of views make it a big deal. And Ray, I agree with you. I think the influence of Zuffa could work positively for these other promotional companies, but I do think it's also going to require change. These companies have to adopt new practices that make sense and convince investors that they're changing the way they're doing things, and the new way they're doing things is going to profit the networks. Yep. If they're not able to convince and sell that idea, it's going to be the same problem. So yes, if they adopt some things they see that Zuffa's doing for themselves and they prove to the networks like, oh, okay, you guys got a new way of looking and you seeing it differently, then, we can see some trial by error, some trials. We're going to do trials by error, give you a small deal, give you something small, not enough to hang us with, but hang yourself with. And let's see if you operate accordingly. And we can see a lot of things change. But time will tell the story. Tomorrow's the big show. The weigh-ins, I believe, are today or already happening.
Yeah, so the weigh-ins are in 2 hours, guys. And just real quick, Clay. So Clay Moraine's going to be doing, I believe, a watch party for the Morataya versus Cruz event. That's on Saturday. Sure. Again, this is a very boxing centric channel, so you guys can count on that. And by the time we do the next show, Clay, probably when you actually do the watch party, we should have already hit the 3,000 mark. So please, guys, share the channel. Pass it around.
That's what I was going to say. Subscribe. We're only 10 away, man.
Almost there. But what I'll say is I'll make it easy on you guys. There's a nice little 20-minute video that just got clipped on where we're having a discussion on Zuffa. And, if you want to bring certain people in, just share that little quick 20-minute. You don't got to share a 2-hour one. Just share a 20-minute one or share one of the shorts. The shorts are always fun, right? Yep. But please share it so people can subscribe. And hopefully, again, Clay, by the time you do your watch party on Saturday, that you will be saying, yay, we hit 3,000. Hopefully.
Yeah, right.
Oh no, that's a fact. I think we're definitely going to hit it on Saturday, because those are usually when I'm covering the sports. I'm usually getting a bunch of subscribers on those days. I haven't actually covered boxing in a little bit because there hasn't been a big event, and I ain't gonna lie, I've been a little selfish as well. I've been catching boxing by my damn self in my living room on my recliner. You know what I'm saying? But Saturday's definitely going to be that day, man. Big card, in my opinion. I know people are going to say, what's so big about it? I think there's a lot of new movers on that card. Yep. I think that the results of these fights are going to be catalyst for the divisions that they're in. We got the lightweight division in the conversation, the light heavyweight division in the conversation, right? We got
super welterweight,
super lightweight.
Israel Madrimov.
Israel Madrimov is back. And also, I got my favorite prospects, some of my favorite prospects on this one. Omario, I got Zaquin, I got, Harley Madoros. These are guys who I'm really excited to see their careers move forward. So I just want to see these guys in the ring. And if you guys feel the same, stop by on Saturday. It is what it is. You guys know what it is. Appreciate everybody in the building. It's your boy Rain. It's Reyes. It's Ray Davis. And at this point, guys,
we out.
Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believed me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic got to say. I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life. I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the new era, about to snap back. You ain't fitting for it, cause you all cap like.